Give everybody a little bit of time to get going here. We're got about 7 to 6. If you guys can hear me, go ahead and post in the comments. Create a poll while we're waiting a little bit here. Bear with me. We'll give everybody 5 minutes to get on. All right, I created a little poll there just for fun here. You guys can feel free to answer that when you're ready. How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody have a good weekend, I hope. It's like we're starting to get some numbers on now. Give the old thumbs up there at the top. Yeah, Kyle, maybe I should have made Megatron one of the options, but I didn't realize it was only going to let me have 3 options. What does it say here? So far, other is 57%, which is kind of what I expected. But looks like Mountain Dew Stud's gaining ground quickly. Let everybody, a few more people get going here. Got a couple of minutes. Starting to get quite a few people. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. Everybody hearing me okay? It says I kind of have an unstable connection, but it seems like it's pretty good. Is that any better for the picture? Jeremy, to answer your question, is there anywhere in Canada? Yes, Grimsby Tackle in Canada has our flashers and spoons. Yes, Kyle, I am on one of the boats. Okay, picture's there now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if maybe because I closed the top there, if that maybe made it a little bit more difficult. All right, well, we're going to get started on this week's live. Thank you for coming. Looks like we've got a good number of people here so far. Again, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I announced earlier today that we're going to do a giveaway for this particular week. So we're going to start that. I think we'll try to do it each week. I think we're going to do 2 giveaways on this one. So I'll explain a little later on in the live portion of this how the giveaway is going to work. But tonight we're going to do a couple of salmon candy packages is what we'll do. And that'll be fun. So a couple of winners will win a couple of salmon candy packages. Chris just made a point. He said, if your picture isn't good, click on the settings and up your resolution. Good tip. All right, so let's rewind a little bit to last week. Let's talk about last week. So last week's fishing here in Sheboygan was overall pretty good. Some kings started to show up, and I believe it was last Wednesday. Maybe Nate from Fish Stick. If you're on here, Nate, you can maybe agree or disagree if I'm getting my days wrong, but I believe it was last Wednesday. Nate and I were out on the Fish Stick, and we had an excellent day catching some really nice big kings with some customers. Found a pocket of green water straight out of Sheboygan, and we were making east-west passes. This green water was kind of running east and west, and we were making east-west passes from 100 to 200. Those of you that follow me on Facebook probably saw the pictures that day. We had a couple over 25 and a couple other nice kings, so we had a really, really good day out on the water. That was kind of, in my opinion, sort of the start to Sheboygan getting what I would say kind of consistent numbers of kings. Tuesday a.m., Nate says. So it was Tuesday a.m. That sort of rode into the weekend for me, which was I went up and fished the Blue Door tournament out of Kiwani. I fished on the rocks and reels again. The owner of the boat, Scott, brought the rocks and reels down from Sturgeon Bay Thursday night. So Thursday night I headed up to Kiwani, stayed on the boat, and then Friday we pre-fished. Pre-fishing was pretty tough. We where do we start? We started straight out of Kiwani and kind of worked our way south a little bit towards the two plants. We didn't pick up any fish, didn't mark very well, and I wasn't real happy with what I was seeing on the screen. I think we fished about 2 hours there or so. So we picked up and actually powered way south. And what we were looking for was looking for warmer water. As a lot of you know, if you've been fishing, in that Kiwani, Algoma, Sturgeon Bay area, it's way behind there. The fishing's been pretty poor up until now, up in that area for fishing in general, and especially for kings. What I was seeing was a lot of water temps of like 42, 41 down in the water column. So not good at all. And I wasn't real confident in that water. So we picked up and ran south, and we actually ran all the way down to just south of Manitowoc. And when we got down there, we set the rods, and I don't even know if we had all the rods in, and we instantly popped a nice 20-pound king and fished a little bit longer and caught a couple other fish. It felt fairly good about that area. That particular area, if I remember right, we had, what did we have? We had like 51 or 52 on the surface and like 47 or 48 down 50. So substantially warmer, like 6-7 degrees warmer than what we found straight out of Kiwani. So felt pretty good about, that particular area. Then found out that night, kind of just following Facebook, that some other boats, some charter boats, actually caught some fish there the night before the tournament as well, while we were at the captain's meeting. So we were kind of feeling pretty good about our plan, and our plan was to run to that area right away in the morning, try to catch a king or two, and then go lake trout fishing. And I knew it was going to be dicey because I knew that the lake trout were there. Um, we had fished those fish 2 tournaments in a row up in that Two Rivers area, and you had a chance to get some really nice lake trout, some big ones. Um, but I felt like if you could get 1 or 2 kings and then go lake trout fishing, that would be the ultimate deal. And unfortunately, Saturday came. We ran down there. The water was perfect, and they just didn't bite early. We talked to a couple other boats that had either no success or had maybe one good salmon bite. We did not. We had one steelhead bite, and we caught it. It was like 6, 7 pounds, nothing serious. And unfortunately, it was an hour run, so we didn't start fishing till 6 o'clock. We gave it till a little after 8, and decided it was time to pull the plug, and we had to run to the lake trout grounds. By that point, unfortunately, we had given the boats that made the move to go right to the lake trout grounds. We had given them a giant head start. I know a couple of the boats that were there, particularly that did real well, finished up in the top 1 or 2 or 3 of the tournament, started right there, and sounded like they had a pretty good sizable catch already by the time we got there, 70 plus pounds for their big five by the time we got there. So it was going to be an uphill battle for us. We knew that, but we were going to give it our best shot. We made our first pass north in the lake trout grounds and caught 6 or 7 of them, but they weren't the size we were hoping for. I think we got one 14-pounder maybe. And then we made a little bit of a pass south into the wind and realized very quickly that the rods didn't look very good south, but we had to kind of grind it. So we picked up the speed and just tried to gain ground as fast as we can. And with about 45 minutes left in the tournament, believe it or not, we were probably sitting on about 45 pounds for 5 fish. We turned back around and went north for the last 45 minutes of the tournament, and everything just lit up for us at that point. We put in a 19-pounder and change. We put in a couple of 15-pounders, I think a 17-pounder. And before you know it, we were finishing up with about 7. I think we ended up with like 77 point some pounds. I think we finished 4th place in the tournament. Not a bad finish. Not what I had hoped for. I think that was a tournament that we had a really good shot to win. As I feel like we had the right plan, we just didn't capitalize. We were 1 lake trout bite short, or at least 1 lake trout in the boat short. And as far as like we needed 1 more big one, 1 more that would have been 3 pounds bigger. We had to weigh a 13-pounder, so we needed 1 more of them 16, 17s to get us over the top. Or what really would have helped would have been to catch that king early. That would have been, I think, what would have been the thing that would have put us over the top. So pre-fishing and fishing into that, we saw that the few kings that were coming, were still seeming to be a lot on chrome and blues. I did that video a couple of weeks ago that said maybe I was wrong. It's probably time for me to do a video that says maybe I was right. So as good as chrome and green was early in the season, kind of had its days there in May where green jeans and some of those colors were really good. Some of those are still pretty darn good, but it definitely feels like chrome and blue has taken over as far as the large volume of baits. So looking at a couple of these comments here, Sam Moore says cohos are studs. Kings hard to come by out of Milwaukee now. Yeah, the cohos are really big, Sam. They're a ton of fun to catch. Some of the biggest cohos I've actually seen on average in probably my lifetime. There's a lot of 7 to 9 pound cohos around, which are really big cohos. If you get into the right class of them, you can boat a lot of big ones. He says vanilla ice is money. I have not fished that much. I need to fish it. What are you running that behind, Sam? John Hamill says had a couple of big kings on green jeans out of Milwaukee. Awesome. That's good. Oliver says I've been getting a few nice kings out of Milwaukee in 150 foot. Yeah, that seems like about a depth that some of the guys have been doing good. Linnea Thomas says your thoughts are spot on for the report at Kiwani last week. We spent a week there, over 40 hours of fishing, 3 bites, 2 fish boated, headed back Friday for another 8-hour trip. I think you'll do much better this week. I don't know if it's going to be crazy good, but I think it'll be it'll be much better. There's kings around there, especially if you power a little ways south, get into that little bit warmer water. I think you'll see some success. Um, Deer hunting says, could I get some tips on how to target lake trout? I'm new to it. Yeah, deer hunting, I would say the couple of things you should know about lake trout is you want to get your rods as close to the bottom as you can, sometimes even bouncing the bottom. And the most angler friendly piece of tackle that you should have deer hunting is cowbells with a spin and glow. And you can go right on www.salmoncandyfishing.com and pick out some of the different cowbells. Antifreeze color was really hot for us last weekend. You can pick out some of the different cowbell colors there, put them on a downrigger, and get them right on the bottom or near the bottom, and have a bunch of success. Early and green jorts, similar to green jeans lately. Nick B says Saturday early AM king bite was non-existent for me in Sheboygan. Did stick a good one late on an SGH. Yeah, Nick, that's kind of what I felt like happened in Two Rivers and Manitowoc area as well. I think there was a few caught in the dark, but as far as the tournament went, very limited amount of kings were caught early. Seemed like some guys caught some later in the day. So we got through that Blue Door tournament. We took fourth. So far we've fished 3 tournaments of the year on the rocks and reels. We have finished second, fourth. So not bad. We've had a good start here. Felt like Scott, the owner of the boat, myself, Lily, my brother-in-law Bubba, Scott's brother Rick, friend Lindsay, Jeff. We've had kind of a mix of crewers. Felt like everybody's really well together. And we've done a really nice job of that. Next on the list, as far as tournaments goes, for me is going to be the Ludington Offshore Tournament, Offshore Classic, I think it's called, maybe, over in Ludington, Michigan. I believe that's the largest tournament on Lake Michigan as far as a tournament goes. I think they average around that 130, 140 mark for boats. Andrew Plomer, where have you been? I've been wondering where you've been, Andrew. I haven't seen you in a while. Haven't heard from you in a while. Yeah, I can't wait to see you in Ludington. I'm excited about that. Glad to hear you're going. That's a tournament that I think I'm really excited about. The competition is heavy. It's as good as it gets, and I'm hoping to film that one. These last couple have been hard. It's been hard to get somebody along to film. I'm hoping to film that particular event because it's a monster event. We're going to do a couple of them. I think there's 1 or 2 tournaments before that. I think there's a tournament on Thursday we're doing. There's a ladies tournament maybe on Friday we're doing. I mean, so looking forward to that whole weekend and opportunity. Jonathan Owen says he'll be in Ludington also. That's their home port. It's a great event. So let's talk about what's going on right now. And what's going on right now, darn thing, I'm going to try to shut that a little bit here. So what's going on right now is fishing has really fired up and down the Wisconsin shoreline as far as kings go. It definitely feels like to me the king fishing has improved, especially in the Sheboygan area, Manitowoc area, Two Rivers area, and I think it's going to basically start to light up any day. If it hasn't already, I haven't communicated with anybody today in the Kewaunee area. I did see some pictures up in Algoma today, and had a couple customers asking me for when some stock product or product was going to be back in stock on the website from that Algoma area. Said they're starting to catch some kings. So I think, from Kewaunee all the way up to the bank in Sturgeon Bay, I think that's going to start to fire basically any day. But as far as from Sheboygan south, I think we finally have hit what I would say is normal early June king fishing. It's only here in late June. So pretty excited about that. It's always fun to get into the kings. I was out this morning. I actually did not do very well, but I did take a little bit of a gamble, a little bit of a chance, and I ran north a ways, maybe looking for a fish that maybe nobody has touched yet. I struck out. I caught 1 king. Did not mark very well. Did not find the fish I was hoping to find. Went up to an area up at the golf course in north to Cleveland where I, have done well historically. big king. You know, they could definitely be there any day. Maybe I didn't go far enough. Maybe I went too far, but right now the fishing report out of Sheboygan is it's really pretty darn good overall. Jackson and Lily were out this morning on Dumper Dan 1, on the original Dumper Dan, I should say, and they had 30 bites this morning. Sounded like everybody up and down the shoreline that I talked to today struggled to board. Very odd. Um, I had multiple different people uh, message me today, multiple buddies who, and Lily and Jackson and other charter people who did less than 50%. Some did even 25 or 30% catch rates today. Like I said, Lily and Jackson were 8 for 30. I talked to another charter boat that I think ended up somewhere in that like 7 or 8 for 17 range. A lot of action. Something was going on today. I don't know if it was current or the first day after we had that blow and the water cooled off, but the fishing was definitely good, but off a little bit. Now this afternoon, I'm getting some text messages with some nice king pictures and things like that. There's definitely kings around. They are spread out, I think, from about 70 foot all the way out to about 170, with probably that 120 to 170 being the most consistent. Still seems like south of Sheboygan is best, up to about straight out. Like I said, didn't go well for me north today. I haven't really heard any real good reports north. It should be good, but haven't heard any real reports north. Seems like south uh, has been better for sure. Uh, this morning I heard boats anywhere from basically 100, 120, 140, 170 doing really, really well. A lot of the same stuff. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that's working. It seems like now the fish are spreading out as well. You can still get them from 5-color lead core or a 8-ounce pump handle out 70, so real high in the column, 20 foot down with a flasher on it, down to now 300 coppers are starting to get some consistent bites. The flasher of the week, no doubt about it, the flasher of the week last week and into this week. Really simple. No doubt which one has been, not necessarily for me, although I've caught a couple on it, but the best, or the one I'm getting the most reports on, at least locally here for sure, SGH. SGH has been on fire for a lot of different anglers. Have done very, very well on SGH. This one's got illumination on it. I'm hearing a lot of people saying illumination has been their best fly. It's always one of my really go-to flies. But SGH probably was the flasher of the week last week, and so far the leader of the pack this week overall. Studs Blue Chin has still been really, really lights out. This has been a great flasher, will continue to be as long as chrome and blue is good. Illumination UV is another good option for this one. Novocaine could be good on here. A couple different options there. I'm still getting a lot of reports for Megatron. I'll be honest, Megatron has eluded me this year. It has not been good for me personally. I don't know why, but Megatron definitely has been working very, very, very well for many different anglers. As people are asking about Cohos and stuff, I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But Megatron still seems to be producing very, very well. I talked to 2 different charter guys today who were fighting big kings on Megatron while I was talking to them. One on a high diver, and the other person was running it on a 200 copper. So still working for lots of people. Unfortunately, just not working for me. Lily has been doing excellent on that Studs Blue Chin. She's also been doing excellent on Jackson's Barracuda. That's been a dynamite flasher for her on her side of the boat when she's been fishing with Jackson over on Dumper Dam. Here on the Vendetta, this boat, one of the hottest flashers has actually been Studs Green Chin. I think if you look close enough, you can actually see some scale. But they said this was their best bait, I believe, on a diver. Studs Green Chin with a doughboy on it. Doughboy fly, which is a great fly. I think they said they had 3 bites or something on this one in that trip. It was pretty good for them. It's always a good flasher in June and July. July primarily a little better for me, but always a good flasher. This morning, the one king that I got came on a flasher that I haven't fished in a while. That's one of my favorites. It's just one of them ones that's um, snuck around the radar on me, unfortunately, which is Russell's Valium. And it's really always been a good late June through July flasher for me because it's a chrome crushed gold green dot front with a white crushed gold green dot back. So it's one of them hybrid flashers where it's got, you know, uh, chrome and white on the same blade. And that one there has a potential, I would say almost guaranteed to be new fly for 2023. Give you a touch of a sneak peek there. I would say that that's probably almost for sure going to be in the 2023 lineup. Put that out this morning. Took a king on it right away, and then still probably the most talked about flasher for this year. Megatron would be one of them. The other one probably Blue Stud UV for sure. That flasher still catches a ton of fish for a ton of colors. As I said before, still hearing a lot about green jeans, Mountain Dew Stud. Lily's been doing really good on Mountain Dew Stud. Quite a few of the different colors starting to come into play as the water's warming up now and getting into the 50-some degree range. I think I had, what did I have? I had 51 down 71 today out in like 170. So the water is definitely starting to warm up. And that's not only going to continue, I think, to make the fishing a little bit better, but it's also going to start to put that pattern in where chrome and greens are going to start to become better. Studs, green chin, chrome stud, green jeans, a bunch of different patterns like that. So back to the cohos and rainbow questions. Yes, coho and rainbow fishing has been good. Seems like the cohos are primarily biting on 8-inch flashers at this point, or stubby dodgers with slider flies. Stubby dodgers have definitely been super hot with slider flies on them. A lot of the charters are still running them. A lot of the weekend guys are still running them and having a lot of success catching those bigger cohos on those stubby dodgers on anything from like a 3-color, 5-color, downrigger, slide diver, any of those types of rods are working. You can fish all the way out, to probably 250 and get into the fish, but it seemed like the fish have now slid back in a little ways, which is nice at everybody's gas tank. And it seems like guys are doing a little better, more in that, 140 to 180 range rather than out in that 275, 300 range. Seems like that's, that closer to area now has been a little bit better. Looks like the weather's going to be pretty stable. Tuesday, Wednesday, I think we're going to get some wind Thursday. And then it looks like Friday, Saturday, Sunday might be pretty nice. So it should be a really great weekend to get out. I probably will try to get out some this weekend myself and maybe get out the next couple of days a little bit. We'll see what's going on. But that coho fishing still remains good, and there are some steelhead around. Orange spoons like Orange Jeans UV, Orange Crush, Orange Stud, up on like a 2-color, 3-color, 5-color has been some options to try to catch some steelhead. Otherwise, most of them have honestly been coming mixed in on flashers. Blue Stud UV, Studs Blue Chin, Mountain Dew Stud. Those seem to be working up in that top tier of the water column, top 25 or 30 foot for the rainbow for the steelhead. So I think the rest of this week is going to look really good for fishing and into the weekend. If we don't get any major blows to flip stuff over, I think you will find that straight out and south of Sheboygan in that 100 to 180 foot range, really focusing on probably that 25 to 60 down range with most of all your rods is going to be what you're going to need to do. Today going north, I couldn't get slower than 3 miles an hour. You might see that on your ball. There's a lot of current right now. So don't be surprised if that's what you see. Real quickly, make sure you hit that thumbs up. That helps this video and helps our page. Also, if you're not subscribed to my page, the Russell's Fishing Tech page, make sure you do that, the YouTube page, so you get an alert when all the videos come out. It also helps me by hitting that thumbs up and by subscribing to the page. It helps me get this video in the algorithm and get it going so that more and more people can see it. So I appreciate you doing that. So starting this week, we're going to do some giveaways. So this week we're going to do 2 salmon candy packages, both of which are going to be 2 flashers and 1 3-pack of flies. So basically about a $55 value or so. And here's how this is going to work. All you have to do to be eligible for those 2 packages, or you can only win once, but to be selected for one of those 2 packages is comment in this video. You can do it now. You can do it anytime tonight until 5 p.m. tomorrow. So everybody who watches this video and comments in any way, if you already have or if you haven't, make sure you do. If you comment in this video sometime now through 5 p.m. tomorrow night, at 5 p.m. tomorrow night, I will announce the winner, or it might be a little bit after that, but in that ballpark area, sometime tomorrow night, 5, 6 o'clock or so, I will announce on the Russell's Fishing Tech Facebook page who the 2 winners were on YouTube, and I will contact you for our for your address so we can get you that product. So something cool to offer you guys. Thank you to Salmon Candy, obviously, for being willing to donate that and give that away. That's cool and fun. It's awesome that that Salmon Candy's in a position that they can do that for sure. Let's talk about, people are asking about fishing reports in other areas. So as I said before, Two Rivers and Manitowoc has definitely started to wake up. I saw multiple reports over the weekend and multiple reports today. Yeah, and even today, of good catches of kings, 3, 4, 5, 6 nice kings out of that area. So that area is starting to liven up for a lot of people that fish up there. I'm seeing great catches all the way down through Racine and Kenosha yet. It looks like a lot of cohos still down there, a few kings mixed in. And the big thing is I'm not seeing a lot of lake trout. And what that means is they're not fishing for them, which is awesome. Um, because I love lake trout, one of my favorite fish to catch. But at the end of the day, if charters are showing a lot of silver fish, that means they're not focusing on fishing lake trout only or lake trout specifically. So that means the silverfish fishing is still really, really good. So it looks like the entire state of Wisconsin, all the way through Two Rivers, I would say at this point, has really good fishing. And then I think, as I said, I think here in the next couple of days to maybe even a week, you're probably likely to see Kewaunee, Algoma, Sturgeon Bay really start to light up, and that area really start to get good over the next week or so. So continue to hit that thumbs up on the page. I appreciate it. I've been enjoying these lives. Going to try to get a few more people involved in it, a few more different anglers on as we can when they're not all fishing. I tried to get Lily on tonight, but she's a little shy yet. I thought I had her for a minute, and then she decided to bail on me at the last second. So, but the next couple of weeks, I'm sure we'll be able to get some different anglers on, talk a little bit more about fishing. Has anybody got any questions? Feel free. Now would be a good time to throw out any questions you got on something maybe you want to know about fishing right now, or just a question specifically. BMA Outdoors says, just ordered some flashers. How's Cryptotron been? Cryptotron has definitely been one of the good flashers this year, getting a lot of reports and a lot of pictures and stuff on Cryptotron. So that has definitely been a really, really hot one. Sean Mallison says, our pump handle is going to be on the Salmon Candy website again. I'll look at that. I do think we should have those pump handle kits. It's a really nice option to have. Let me try to look into that and see what the option is. Brian Little says, what's the best loop? Do you mean loop knot? Yeah, loop knot for flies. Okay, Brian, look up on the internet. It's called an overhand knot. That's the knot you're looking for. Nick B says, why have all my king bites come mid to late morning this year? Nick, I think that is specifically because the water has been extremely cold and the kings have gotten active as the water is warmed up throughout the day. So there's not a very good early morning bite. It's a later in the morning bite as the the water gets activated by the sun. Let's see here. Jason Everett says, did you do any videos from the Blue Door tournament? Unfortunately, I did not. I wanted to, and I just couldn't get somebody to film for me. Randy Miller says, tough weekend for me again. Current was nuts Sunday morning. Skunked. Hopefully figure something out soon. Randy, that sucks. I thought I had heard Port was really good. Sounded like east-west passes from like 150 to 300 was the best. Maybe that has died now. I'm not sure, but I think it was still pretty good. Aaron McCarthy says, what three? I like to run slower too, Aaron, but if you are looking for a mixed bag specifically, I'd say probably 2.2 to 2.4 would be what I would say would be a great, like, king, steelhead, coho speed mix there. Bob Anderson says, Crowman White Megatron took 2 kings early sun morning, just south of Sheboygan. Awesome, Bob. Glad to hear that. Bob's a long-term customer, both of Russell's Fishing Tech and Salmon Candy. We greatly appreciate it. Greg says, thank you for the weekly report. That's awesome. Mitchell Elmer, who's another great customer, says, does the late cold spring push back everything or just smaller king window? It's a great question, Mitchell. We're going to find out. I mean, we're not going to get them longer into the season, like into October or anything. The question is going to be, are we going to have them here in Wisconsin, through the month of July, August, instead of losing them like the third week of July? That's my hope. If the water stays cooler and doesn't warm up real fast, that's possible. We start getting a lot of really sunny, hot days, no wind. It could be tough. So we'll see. Somebody just said, Speedy Gamer says, one of my buddies has been doing well on white flashers. What would make those produce over the traditional chrome, specifically this time of year? I'm a chrome guy this time of year. I have not done real well on white. Early morning, first light, I could see white being really, really good, but high sun, I have not gotten a lot of reports, not gotten a lot of people sending me info saying white was good for them. So that would be what I would call your outlier, which everybody sees some outliers from time to time. Corey Reed says, have a new entry and spread full of torpedo wire. How would you do to make it more versatile than a shoot rod? Are you looking around that like as a diver or with a torpedo weight, Corey? Jason Belter says, what do you think of all the dead fish? Oh boy. I don't know if this is one I can answer without getting a little bit overly wound up, but I'll try to do my best. Jason Belter, here's the scoop. And everybody listen up and listen carefully so you don't misinterpret what I say here. Lake Michigan is in a position right now where we have too much bait fish for the lake. What do I mean by that? There's not enough predator fish for the amount of bait in the lake. I don't care what anybody else tells you. I don't care what anybody else thinks. That's my opinion. And that's why we are seeing tougher fishing for salmon and trout right now than it should be. I think there's more salmon and trout in the lake than we realize, but we're seeing tougher fishing than it should be because all they got to do is open their mouths for a very short period of time and they get full very fast. The good news is that die-off is showing there's a large number of bait in the lake. It's not a bad thing. There's that many eel lives in the lake right now. We're seeing this might be the biggest die-off I've ever seen. A lot of people might think, well, that means we're losing all this bait. Oh my God, it's horrible. No, that means there is that much bait. The percentage of die-off is probably the same as it always is. There's just that much more to start. Real quickly here, because I am going to run low on battery today. We're probably not going to get a full hour here. We're going to get a few more minutes out of this particular live. I apologize. My battery's been struggling. I did see one here. Robert DeWitt says, are you involved in the Appleton store and do they have salmon gear yet? I'm not involved in the Appleton store. I closed my store in Sheboygan. I'm not associated with the Real Shot in any way anymore. And I do not know what their salmon gear situation is. I'm sure they have some. I know they have some salmon candy stuff that they have been selling. It's last year's stock, I believe. But I have no idea like what their inventory is or anything like that. Let's see what else. Is a retailer for salmon candy near Milwaukee? Yes, Chevy guy, there is. Port Washington. Sam's Bait Box has a selection of salmon candy stuff. Let's see here. Any idea when Megatron 8-inch flasher will be available, Derek? Derek, we just got some going to the warehouse this week again. I'm hoping by the weekend Megatron will be back on again. John says he remembers seeing this much die off when he was younger. Yeah, I would say I would say I'd have to go back to probably the late 80s, early 90s, since I can remember this kind of die off. Um, that's definitely disappointing. Jordan Pago, which I got a picture of today, I'm going to get up on Facebook probably tomorrow. Jordan sent me a really nice picture of a UV Super Frog. He says Kings and Coles in Sheboygan this morning, UV Super Frog, Cryptotron, and SGH, top 50 foot. UV Super Frog is one of them flashers that it's sort of an outlier. It's chrome, green, and black. It just seems to work all the time, all the time. And I don't fish it enough, but that's a flasher that we continue to sell out constantly, and it works everywhere, like Michigan, like Ontario, the Michigan side, the Wisconsin side. That flasher I need to personally fish more. That was a beautiful king you sent me this morning, Jordan. I'll get that on the Facebook page. I appreciate it. Logan says, what's better, J-Braid or Power Pro? Line color matter. I like green. J-Braid or Power Pro is fine for backer, either one. If I was using it for a main line, I probably prefer Power Pro, but for backer, I would go with whatever was cheaper. Choo, 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 choo. Bill Keller says the alewife die-off was bad on the Michigan side too. All the fish we caught were loaded with bait. Yeah, everything's loaded. You guys want to see a sneak peek real quick at a possible new flasher for 2023? Again, some of these things I'm sharing with you, I'm kind of doing this. I've never really done it before. I'm doing it just because I think it's fun. Let me know in the comments real quick if you want to see it before my battery dies. Martin says any certain brand of swivels that you recommend? Yes, the Salmon Candy swivels on the Salmon Candy website, www.salmoncandyfishing.com. We carry two sizes, 55-pound for spoons, 90-pound for everything else. Speaking of UV Super Frog, so as I was working on a few different things new for this year, and I've been working on a bunch of them, we've shown a little bit of possibilities. Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's been decided for sure yet. We're going to continue to test things and make decisions. But this one was one I really, really liked. That I thought has a lot of potential. That UV Super Frog is always so good that I thought we needed something similar. So, and it's actually got a potential new fly on it too, which makes it even more dangerous. But what do you guys think of potentially the UV Black Super Frog? Let me know in the comments if you think UV Black Super Frog would be something that you would be interested in. And this is a potential new fly. We'll see what happens. Thinking UV alewife would be the color of that fly if we end up coming out with that. So we're going to play with it a little bit. We'll see. I think it's got huge potential. I really like the looks of that particular flasher. Haven't had a lot of time to fish it yet, but I'm going to get some time to do it here quickly. Todd Schetzer says, leave some luck on the boat you're broadcasting from. Let's see that flasher. Yeah, I'm going to try to do that. Mark Heidemann, I've never heard you talk about bead colors for flies. Do you run the same color on all flies? Yes, I do, Mark. I like to leave it all the same. Yep, Jordan says send it over with another UV Super Frog. Yeah, I really think, Jordan, you'd love that UV blog. I think that would be good. So that seems like people like that one. Chris, are you coming? Christopher Foreign says, what would be anybody really realizes the fact that I probably test 30 to 40 flashers a year, and we end up making 6 or 8 of those for the next year. So there's a lot that goes into it. We play with a lot of different variations. We might actually play with a few different size dots, or maybe dots inside the dots or whatever, just to see if we can get it exactly the way we want it. Tom says, what is a good light brand to buy for glow spoons? Tom, actually, my belief on glow spoons is just hitting them with a flash bulb real quickly. Is all you need to do. And I don't like to hit them and send them down immediately. I like to actually hit them as I go down the river or out into the lake and let them kind of dimmer down a little bit. So they're not so bright and so gaudy and so terrible right away, or terribly bright right away. I think that might even spook the fish. Looks like we're probably going to get wrapping up here. I'm down to 3 pump handles there in that pump handle video. I have one out there on pump handles and how to rig them and everything. I am going to look to try to get one out on how to set them and things like that. I'm working on that. It's been, we're in the dead middle of the heat of the season for Salmon Candy, for producing product. So I have to admit, I want to get a little more videoing done, and I will. going to get that done here coming up in the next couple of weeks, but this last week or two is really and continue to work on developing stuff for next year. So looking forward to it. The fish stick will be out all week, so we'll get some reports from those guys on what's cooking, what's going on. I'll be posting some of that. I'll be out a few times myself. He coming this week and weekend, so we'll see what winner. I'll announce the winners tomorrow night and get a hold of you. Then, if you're the winner, I'll announce the winners tomorrow night, and we're going to give away 2 flashers and a 3-pack of flies to 2 different winners. Really awesome of Salmon Candy to be able to do that, and it only works because you guys are big supporters of myself and Salmon Candy. Super appreciative. Get a